Hi, I'm Jakira Black, and this is the second day of my book review for this book, which is Self-Editing for Fiction Writers: How to Edit Yourself into Print by Rennie Brown and Dave King. Obviously, this is a creative writing book, and I'm sharing my thoughts chapter by chapter on the subjects. So today, and like I said yesterday, I do recommend this book because I'm only giving you a slight taste of it, but it does seem it is teaching me a lot of things. It's actually making me think quite a lot about my editing skills, what I should actually look for as I'm editing. There's a checklist at the end of each chapter, and there's also exercises to do. Like the exercises are here, so you can practice the thing that's been discussed in the chapter. So, and I said I'd put a link to the book and I forgot. So I will try to do it, but I'm quite tired because it's actually got 11 o'clock and I need to go to bed. But I wanted to talk about this, and I've only just finished reading it because it's just been one of those days, and yeah, it's just been, I've been very tired again, so yeah. But the things my thoughts on this is this chapter is about characterization and exposition. I must admit, I didn't know what exposition was. People would say about it and I'd be like, oh, what's that? Don't know what it is, which is a terrible, terrible admission for a writer to say. Oh, I don't think I do it totally. Maybe I do a bit, but anyway, characterization and exposition. So the first thing I thought was when I was reading it was it was about describing your characters, and that you shouldn't give too much description about your characters. You shouldn't put a judgment up about what this person is like, because for one, then the reader reads that and expects the character to act in a certain way. But obviously that doesn't give you the freedom to actually explore this character, and you're either going to contradict that character profile, or you're just going to repeat it as you go through the story and show this character and their traits. So for instance, if you talk about someone being grumpy all the time, and then later on you've got him slamming doors and everything, then why did you say in the first place that he was grumpy? Because you're showing him slamming doors is much more interesting. So you didn't need to do that character profile. But if you say that this is a man who never gets angry, and then later on you've got him slamming doors because he's got angry, then you've made your summary a mockery, really, and sort of set a very different tone to the story for your reader, because the reader's expecting the character to act in a certain way and then they don't, which is confusing. So I think the idea is trying not to put an idea of what your character's like, to keep the description very, very not limited, but not too much information maybe about traits and stuff. Just keep it to description of their appearance. Obviously you can have some stuff, but not too much, and maybe spread it out throughout the pages and not have a big block of it right at the beginning. The same goes for their histories. You know, you might be having flashbacks in your story, or you might be just having information about your character's history, but how much does actually really need to be there? And how much can you, even if you really like it and it's one of your darlings, can you kill it? That is something to think about as you're editing a novel. Also, what other information are you giving? Are you giving information about their family background, maybe their job? Does it need to be there? Could some of it be deleted? Is it making the story murky in a way because there's so much information that the reader is having to struggle through all of it to get to the actual pertinent information? So yeah, and you know, how do you get that information across to your reader? Do you, you know, do a drip thing technique, or a, you know, all at once? And the drip is probably a better thing to do, because that gives the reader time to sort of get to know the character, but actually get to enjoy the book and not find that they're bored because there's too much information in one place. And lastly, there was a talk about exposition in dialogue, because obviously expedition is, you know, when you're giving information, you're giving backstory, whatever. So using it through dialogue, if a character is saying about their history, how would they actually say that information? Would they actually go to great lengths to tell everything, or would they maybe just say little bits? So I think the idea behind this is this part of the editing and chapter 2, the characterization and exposition, is to know when it's too much and not to overload the reader with too much information. But if the information needs to be in the story, then it needs to be in the story, but do it in more of a drip technique than a big splurge. So yeah, so I will be reading the next chapter tomorrow, which is about point of view, and then I will be coming back and doing another review for this book. I do recommend this book. I've only just read the first 2 chapters, but I am finding that it's really beneficial, because like I said yesterday, I'm at an editing stage. You know, I can write a novel, I can plan a novel, I can do all that, but the thing is, you know, editing a novel is hard, you know, and how do you do it? You need a plan. Well, this book is giving me a plan. At the moment, it might, once I've gone through it all, it might be quite a long plan with lots and lots of drafts, but obviously with time and keep practicing, you know, then I'm going to get better at editing. So yeah, okay, bye.